Hello, our friends, Evolutionary, EEARTS, Heart's Home, Patreon family,
Hello there, welcome back.
Ko-Fi family,
All family,
Rumble, Brighteon, Bitchute family.
puppies, kittens, and horsey family.
Oh, she overdid it now. Wow, I can't compete with that one.
Me either.
No, absolutely. So, guys, we awoke to a notice that said YouTube had taken this video down. They are definitely targeting EEARTS a little bit harder than before. And, it has a system where you can appeal it, which we did, and then they're supposed to get back to you in, a couple of days, 2-3 days, after a human looks at it to verify. And literally, as soon as I clicked appeal, an email comes up. Oh, we've looked at your material and verified it is going to stay removed, and it did violate our policies and procedures. So obviously, no human could watch in literally 5 seconds. You could go double speed, but still, it's a 21-minute video. So, automated AI taking control, but you could still watch the video over on Patreon, and it is up on Brighteon, Rumble, and Bitchute too. So, again, we're going to have to do things a little bit different, I think, when it comes to the news, because they keep removing links too, and they're going to use links as a issue, saying some links aren't credible. Interestingly enough, MSN is the least credible links according to Google YouTube right now. That's really kind of interesting, is it not? They keep removing MSN links. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it does feel like they've gotten into our new computer, which doesn't surprise me. So again, Evolutionary, Heart's Home, and EEARTS, we're going to focus this one on something a little bit more lighthearted. And these lights show up on the Mekong River every year, pretty much on the exact same night. They rise up from the river and head off into the sky. Now, of course, science is going to want to say, I don't know, methane? Is it methane gas? Is it literally swamp gas? Not from Uranus, but swamp gas from the Mekong. This is, by the way, a river between Thailand and Laos. Interesting. I mean, it's become a festival, and the occurrence itself is called the Naga fireballs. Naga. Now, Naga. This is a representation of Nagas. Nagas are like serpentine beings, again, from quote-unquote mythology, that live, from what we've gotten, they're more like fourth density for the most part, but they live in inner earth or under waters, in the sea and maybe in very deep rivers. Again, this is hearkening back to a time when we saw all those mythological beings. We saw what we would call elves and sprites and fairies and all sorts of different types of beings. And it was normal and natural, and it was just every day.
And Nagas are really, really interesting because they kind of remind me of, if you guys have ever seen that show Survivor, they're a being that can definitely outlast, outwit, and outplay you. So they do command a certain type of respect. And you would want to be very careful with the Naga, not to fear them, but just understand they are very powerful beings, and they can play with you like a toy doll. And it is fun. A lot of times I do a chart and we look at something in someone's chart. It's called a nakshatra, and it has to do with the star where they were born. And sometimes you do see people born under a Naga star, and it's also representative of Kundalini. And this does show some pretty powerful psychic abilities that people might have, and they just don't know or don't understand them. So this is going to be a fun video.
Yeah, again, Nagas are central in Asian mythology, and again, they can be referred to as dragon type energies or serpentine type energies. These energies are different than what we would call Draco. They are different than the negative reptilian energies that we speak of so often.
They are, they have again, it's an energy that commands respect. Like if you are riding a horse, they are several hundred pounds of sheer muscle. You want to make sure you have a good understanding, good communication with both you and that horse, because if you upset that horse or do something that the horse doesn't think is fair, well, there's gonna, things could happen. So you just really want to be careful, have good communication, be open, be honest. And they're not entities that are just going to come out and hurt you for no reason, and they're not going to look to take advantage of you for no reason. They have no desire to do that. They have no desire to they don't need to, is when you're looking at a reptilian energy or a draconian energy, these are very deceitful energies where they will look for ways to undermine you and get ahead of you. No, the Nagas are not like that. They're just different.
In fact, you will see many representations of Vishnu relaxing, laying on top of Seshanaga, like king of the Nagas. And again, it is a representation of the Kundalini energy in some ways. It's a representation of wisdom. You even have the Bible that talks about the old serpent, and some scholars have recognized this being different than what's called Satan. Again, did the serpent lie in the Garden of Eden? The actuality, the serpent told the truth. And that's, again, an example of how these stories get all twisted, because the Nagas are revered, they're respected. They are kind of feared, like when Cindy was saying about a horse. Yeah, 1,500 pounds of power. It's just like, of course, you would respect a gorilla. A gorilla could rip your arm off and beat you over the head with it. You don't just go up to a gorilla and tweak it in the nose. Well, you certainly don't do something like that with these beings. These beings are very wise, very powerful. They understand far more than the typical human understands with how the universe works. And, some will say that these energies are the original inhabitants of Earth, which, again, it's fascinating to look at everybody's opinion on things. The Sumerian tales do say that Earth was created from Tiamat, and we are in agreement. The guides have said, yes, the Earth was created from Tiamat. Tiamat itself was represented as this type of energy. This when Cindy sees the Tiamat energy, it looks like a Chinese dragon. A Chinese dragon typically is not like your European dragon, where you have, the arms, the legs, it's four-legged, but you have that thicker body. It's more serpentine. And this is, again, going back to the Nagas. The Nagas are very, very ancient and wise and powerful. And again, they are not Draco. They are not the part of the reptilian control grid.
No, not at all. In fact, I think this energy is very forthcoming in the idea that it is part of Earth. It's an energy that can be merged with, and if you use this energy appropriately, it can really, really help you in life, help you make decisions, help guide you. And I do think that humans, when we come in this form, there is some tying in with this energy. Looking at human energy, I believe everyone has a dragon type of a guide of sorts. And this energy, I feel, is very representative of that. So anybody could tap into this type of energy, this dragon energy inside of them. But it does vary, the varying degrees of how much energy how it goes into the human, and how much we want to call in is up to us, because it's our individual experience.
It is. And so here we again see some depictions of these Naga fireballs. Their existence is not debated, but their cause, the cause, what really is causing this? Again, when we see orbs, typically they are some sort of being. As we've shared with you over the course of so many years, many of our own photos of orbs. Any given night, we can go do mantras and we'll draw beings into us. We do this all the time. And we don't have to try. It's just that when we do the mantras, it lifts our vibration up. It lights us up like Christmas lights. And beings just kind of notice, and they come on by and they're like, I wonder what that is. We've had I wonder what that is so many times. And we've had that out in the desert with very, very interesting occurrences. As once I remember doing mantras when we were in our camper, close to, Nellis Air Force Base, Area 51. And all of a sudden, this really weird-looking extraterrestrial type being popped in my third eye vision, and it just turned its head quickly to the left, looked at me, and tilted its head like, what are you? Because it saw me as a light. It didn't see my physical body. Its vision of me was just simply as a bright orb. And just as we would be curious and look at these things and say, what are these bright lights, these bright orbs? The reality is, again, they're consciousness, and they are beings. And on a different density, these beings might all see themselves as angels with wings, for instance.
Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoy this video, because when I was in the desert and I had my awakening, I was gifted to see a being very much like this. It came straight down from the sky, and it came down. It looked like a teardrop. It looked exactly like a teardrop, a very large teardrop, I would say. Probably, I don't know, from the distance I was looking. Oh gosh, I'm really bad with my distance, but it had to have been a couple hundred yards. I don't know. If I was standing next to it, it might be at least 10, 12 feet big, and wide, but it also made a teardrop. So when it hit the ground, it just, it dissipated. It was just gone. But it was for me to see, and it was for my experience and my awakening. It was like a celebration. It's like, hey, welcome, you're awake. And I got to see that. And then when I saw these, I thought, wow, they're just opposite that teardrop. The teardrop part is upside down, and they're going up out of the water. So if you would turn them the other way and they were going down in the water, then it would be like a teardrop. So this was really fun to do this video and see this. Brought up some old memories and some information that, just kind of verifies. Because when you see stuff like this, it's like sometimes you try to talk yourself out of it because you're so used to the 3D. It's like little me is afraid to realize that there really truly is stuff out there that's so valid in 3D. So that was an experience that just expanded me, and I cherish it and I welcome it. And then when other people go through their awakenings, they have experiences like this where they get to see something. And this is something that happens regularly. I mean, how exciting is that? This is two worlds coming together, sewing each other together, saying one world saying, see, I honor you, and the other world saying, see, we see you honoring us, and we want to give this to you. And I can't think of anything more beautiful and more, what's the words I'm looking for, accepting of different worlds, walking between worlds of something like what these folks do.
Yeah, so the conceptualization of a dragon energy in the river setting off these little tufts of fire up into the sky to basically tell people that they're not alone. We can envision that kind of clearly. And then, of course, the cynical point of view, people would say, well, maybe it was just Chinese lanterns. Well, they do set off Chinese lanterns now in celebration of this, but there was something to the original encounters, which again has been something that has been going on for a very, very long time. And it is a leftover relic, again, of another age. You actually get hundreds of thousands of tourists that come to these two provinces to see these lights and to marvel. So is it just, as some have said, is it just the government, setting off fireworks and things like that? Well, again, they want to cover up the existence of consciousnesses on other densities. They want us thinking we are alone. They want us actually thinking there's no life after death, because part of their big purpose and program is to basically merge us with the artificial to elongate this life and then trap the source spark in the body where they can still utilize it. But we are not alone. And what this is other intelligences, other energies, just trying to tell us, hey, you guys are not alone. You're not alone. And, again, and what we had shared before with Fatima was that the sun dancing, well, it wasn't the creator of this universe, but it was some extraterrestrials that wanted to say, guys, you're not alone.
That's right. And we are, when we need to see these things, it seems like we get to see them. When you're in a place in your life and maybe you're feeling alone or you're just very uncertain, higher self knows when to drop these things right in front of your reality. But I think this is fascinating because you could go here and to one of these festivals and just see it yourself if you wanted. Usually this is reserved for people that need to see it, but maybe this is a time, space, dimensional type of thing where if you put out enough energy, you're going to receive energy. So it's definitely a give and take.
Absolutely. And so many of these festivals, which have been derided as pagan festivals and looked at in a negative light, the negative light's really coming from the controllers, because they don't want you to know that, these indigenous people don't think that each one of these balls of light is the creator or anything like that. No, it's just understanding these are signs from other beings that you're not alone, especially in this time. When we think to the Foo Fighters, following the fighter jets and watching the fighters, there were countless reports of Foo Fighters. There's been countless reports of different UFOs, UAPs around volcanoes going off. How about earthquake lights? You ever heard of that phenomenon? Yes. Because again, they're always watching us. They can tell when there's going to be major events, and they do watch. And in so many ways, many of these beings that are watching us are our true family. And they're here watching out for us. When we speak to them and we ask for their guidance and their help, then they will help. They can't help without our asking. Again, the benevolent beings wouldn't infringe on our quote-unquote human experience because we are not always embodied as humans, and that's the big reveal that they don't want you understanding. When you look to the Hindu tradition, the Hindu holy books say that in our galaxy alone there are hundreds of thousands of humanoid species of all different varieties. How did they know this? Because they had firsthand experience with it. They remember. Some green-skinned, some blue-skinned, some that look like mythological hybrids again. They're all based in some sort of reality. And that's the big reveal. Again, these things are hidden from us because the control system needs to keep it hidden. But they're not going to be able to keep it hidden anymore. This is part of that reveal. This is why we have these timelines again. Because we are heading into an area where we're no longer going to be completely under the Dark One's control. So we will be seeing other entities. We will be seeing extraterrestrials, and we'll be seeing other beings that have been here the whole time, either living inside Earth, under the oceans, or on a slightly different density that now with our expanded ability of perception, we'll start to remember and we'll see them again.
And I really believe in these times where things are so extremely stressful, things are so horribly uncertain, if we put the energy out there that we need some type of information to help still our soul, we are more apt to get it during these times of high stress and high uncertainty. But we always have to ask. And when you are talking with your guides and angels and you're trying to have things come together in your life, I really can't stress enough how you need to be detailed. You really need to be detailed. Because if you ask Ganesh to remove all obstacles and you don't say certain minor details, well, he's going to remove all obstacles and you might not like how he does it.
Absolutely. So if you missed this one, it's still up again on Brightchute, Bitchute. Brightchute, that's a new one. Brightchute and Bitchute and Rimble.
Yes.
And Rimble, yes. Well, it's on all three of those. It's still over on this as well. And I'm not sure if it's on Ko-Fi. Most of the time I try to upload to Patreon and then put the link from Ko-Fi to Patreon. Ko-Fi doesn't have its own server. Patreon does have its own server. So, if YT takes the video down, it's still up on Patreon. So, again, you can watch all the ones that are not Patreon only on Patreon, and you could actually subscribe to get notifications over there as well, which I would hardly recommend because, they have the bullseye right now firmly on EEARTS, and again, they don't like any of our channels because, again, they are the system. They are the Draco, basically. As always, guys, much love, much appreciation for you being part of this family. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.